Live stream. Welcome to Symposium.
I don't know if we're actually live yet.
It
It's
says
not really.
live.
Oh, there we go. We
I
are
sure
live.
hope we are.
We're live, baby.
Confirm
Back.
live.
I put on my Sunday
Back at it
best.
again.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been like, what, 41 days, I think?
Has it really? God,
No,
we are not good.
Can't be that long, really.
What is this? 15, 18?
Yeah, what episode are we
We're going to
on?
have to do this plus 5 more episodes this year to hit our goal of 20 episodes.
That was
Wow.
ambitious already.
Wow.
Should we just split this one up into 5 different ones?
Oh, we could do that.
Good 20,
That would be
couple
nice.
20-minute segments.
That's pretty much how I
How
got through
long? We should
school.
play a game to see how long it will take until we get our first viewer. Currently at 0. That would be a fun episode. We could just count up until we hit our first viewer.
We've been talking since the 5th grade, and somehow we've got more to say. Beat kicks and faster rhythm. Inflation's high, the game's too steep. Stream wars rage while we lose sleep. Big tech's wild, the Fed's a mess. But let's start a party, I guess. Symposium, where tangents thrive. Old friends talking, the takes collide. Symposium, no wrong or right. Just good conversation deep into the night. Yeah, we're still talking.
So
Typing
should we
shit.
start the show?
I thought we already had.
I guess we had. That's true.
Yeah, we're live.
So what do you want
baby.
to talk about today? Do you want to start with my big day?
Yeah.
I want to hear about
Big day,
Austin's
yeah.
big day.
Austin's big day.
Sounds like
Wow.
a diary entry.
Well, Saturday, I had a fantastic day.
Which
Full-
date?
Great. You're right. December the 6th. Saturday, December the 6th was a day that will live in infamy. Is that also what they say it was D-Day? What's the other day that will live in infamy?
That's Pearl Harbor, 7th.
What did I say? D-Day.
The
Pearl
si-
Harbor. Pearl Harbor wasn't the
Yesterday?
7th? Isn't it the 11th? This story is off the rails. Someone look up when Pearl Harbor was. I think it was the 12th. No, 12/12 can't be.
I thought it was the 7th. 7th sounds right.
Yeah, this is 7th.
7th. Wow, I didn't
You
really
came
see
at
any
me with
news
some
about it this
confidence
year.
there. I
Yeah,
didn't
that was
really
yesterday.
understand.
I think
I
they
didn't see
finally just
anything
gotten
about
over
it. It's a sad day in 2025. People have, according to Matthew, gotten over Pearl Harbor.
Well, most of the people there are dead.
True. Are there any? I
Or
gotta
even
stop asking
alive.
follow-up questions. All right. Had an amazing day on Saturday. I got to go to 2 IU sporting events in one day. I was very lucky to have the opportunity to do this. Went to the basketball game. Was downtown Indy. Played Louisville. Basketball team
Louisville.
first. Louisville.
I've had this argument a lot.
first game I have watched all year of Indiana basketball, and let's say I am quite concerned by what I saw. It looked disgusting. We can't handle the ball. We have no big guys. We were all out of sorts. Lost by 9 points. Felt like we lost by 40. So that was at 2:00. Did that, walked over to the convention center. IU had a big tailgate situation going on there to then lead into the football game. Went to the football game, amazing seating arrangement that I was lucky enough to find myself in. We watched the Hoosiers take down the Buckeyes, win the Big Ten championship. Kurt Signetti got to hold that trophy up. Fernando Mendoza is going to win the Heisman next week. And now we're on to Pasadena. So I have a few mementos to share. We got, let's see. So this came from Bloomington from my sisters-in-law. They got this poster leading up to the week that was going around campus. It says "Wreck the Buckeyes." So if they had lost, this would have been garbage, but now I'm going to get it framed. What else?
First
We have
Big
a
Ten
little
championship since, let's look it up.
1945, World War II.
1945.
It was Kirk Herbstreit's favorite fun fact on game day on Saturday morning. We
I can
also
remember
have,
that, but we can't remember D-Day.
I'm not going to be able to get the focus. There's a little
Yeah,
pin that they gave
cool.
out. Never Daunted. B1G 2025. Pretty cool. And then, of course, have to have the rally towel from the game right there.
Did you spin that around?
Pretty awesome. Sure did. Think I have like 20 of these now. Have not, let's just recap IU football the last 2 years. They have lost 2 games, no home games, and have only lost to Ohio State and Notre Dame, and now have beat Ohio State. Pretty incredible. And yeah, so probably the coolest football game, coolest sporting event experience I've ever been to on Saturday night. Did you guys all watch? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
My
Justin
dad watched.
sent maybe the text, my favorite text of the day. My dad, he said my dad literally dove in front of the TV to block that kick and it worked.
It was a feat of athleticism from a 60-plus-year-old that paid off big time. Let's just say that. So,
I could not believe that. That
it
was
was a great game.
insane.
It was just a great football game. Low scoring.
It sure was.
Good
Yeah.
defensive performance.
That was a little
defense.
surprising. It was surprising because it was low score. Like if you watched just look at the box score, you would have thought it was a bad game. But if you watched the game, it felt still fun, even though it was so low scoring.
Yep. The refs tried everything they could to not let Indiana win that game. Some terrible missed calls. Or terrible calls.
Take your win. No
I'll
whining.
take the win. I won't whine. No crying in the casino, as they say.
It's very exciting. You guys went from like the worst team in college football history to the #1 seed going into the playoff. It's pretty unheard
Literally
of.
the worst.
So
Yep.
the whole
Yep.
landscape of college football has completely changed. You took advantage. They also got a great coach, so that's awesome.
So I'm not a football fan. I like football, but so what? College football changed. Because you can now pay football players, right? And you can trade, like people basically will switch schools like every year, and they make like millions of dollars, right? And then there's also changes to the way that the bracket at the end works or something. Like now there's 12 teams instead of 4 teams. Are there other changes involved too? And I guess how did IU take advantage of changes in football to flip the script on their program? Do they just have like a ton of money and they bought the best players, or what?
The two big changes. The playoff itself, I don't think really benefited IU that much. They're still the best team, but definitely the benefit for most teams, not just IU, is like, yeah, NIL, now you can pay players, and two, the transfer portal. Transfer portal arguably is much bigger, and basically you don't have to stay at a school for more than one. You don't have to stay at a school for a whole year. You can leave after 1 year and just transfer to another school. And so like when Signetti came to IU, he brought basically all of James Madison's team with him the next season. And Texas Tech did something similar this year where they basically bought their entire defense. Texas Tech was nothing last year, and now they lost 1 game this year. It just changed the landscape, and it's not right or wrong. I think IU also but the thing is, what's crazy actually about IU is their like recruiting / transfer class was not like, it's nothing near any of the other top teams up there. Like if you look at the talent on their team, it's nowhere near Ohio State's. Ohio State their combination of transfers and guys that they got in the recruiting classes is like if Ohio State's number one, I use like number like 60. Like it's
I
they don't
think I
have
think the
that much
composite
talent.
talent, what you're going at right there, Matt, I think they were 40th in the country. And
IU
all
was.
these, yeah,
Yeah.
40th composite talent ratio in the country compared to teams that have a top five that are in the playoffs. Miami had a top five. Ohio State had a top five. Um, one other one had a top five as well. Like Texas Tech is up there because they bought like a ton of just ridiculous people. But one thing I want to add to what Matthew's saying, yes, all that has contributed to a changed college football's kind of atmosphere. But I think IU kind of did catch lightning on a bottle here with just a coach that was in a perfect position. Yes, he brought a lot of players over from his previous school, but he also went and found perfect pieces like the Heisman probably winner this year, Fernando Mendoza. He's a transfer from Cal, so that's not JMU, obviously. He literally went and found him, said, "Hey, your brother's already playing with us." His younger was already on the team. He said, "Hey, do you want to come play for me?" So the quarterback transferred from Cal to IU, and then, I mean, the rest is kind of history. His brother's also really good, so next year could be even a great year as well for IU. But anyway, where I'm going with this is I think a funny thing that has happened is that IU has ruined head coaching for a lot of other schools. Because a lot of other schools now, Sam, are looking at IU and says, what this pathetic program has all of a sudden gone to the playoffs 2 years in a row with their resources. What are we doing here? Let's just go find a guy like Signetti and like go do it. So what's happening is a lot of athletic directors are now they have really short leashes with their coaches. They hire these guys. If you don't produce immediate results, like immediate results, Kurt Signetti was year one, 11-2, I think, Austin, right? That was the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Year
Yep.
two, 13-0. So it's going to be very interesting, I think, over the next 2 to 3 years, how many coaches get axed because they can't replicate what Signetti did. And I don't know if you can. They're talking about it as historically the greatest coaching turnaround of all time. And that's not even superlatives. That's just, it could be just the truth of what we're experiencing right now. So for all the IU fans, there are jokes being made saying, oh, build him a statue already and it's year two. It's probably you build the guy a statue at this point already because it was IU, and IU was obviously known to be the worst football team, at
Since
least record-wise.
1945. Like, I feel like that
Yeah,
deserves a statue.
that's a ridiculous stat. That's alone probably deserves a statue. But IU before, I think it might have changed at the end
Penn
of
State
last year.
game.
At the Penn State game,
They were the worst going into the Penn
yeah,
State game. They were the losingest team in the history of college football. The worst, last.
This is
If you
last year.
take no this
Sure.
year.
Oh, this
So
year.
like they were, if you aggregate the stats of the wins of all the football programs in the
the
country,
losses. Yeah.
they were last. And that winning that Penn State game put them one above Northwestern to
Just
be
kickstarted the whole thing. They got
second
some
worst.
momentum.
So they're still the second worst team historically, over the history of time. Second worst team. Number
It's gonna
one
take
team in the
some time
country
to
right now.
catch up.
Yeah.
Who is the
Do you think-
winningest, just out of curiosity? Sorry.
It's
Is it USC,
highly
Notre Dame? I don't know.
it's highly
Might be
contested
Michigan.
because I think it's Ohio State right now. It was Michigan. Notre Dame had for a little bit, but this I say it's highly contested because there's a bunch of bullshit with the NCAA taking away wins from certain teams because of different sanctions that ended up reducing win percentages for certain teams. So, like Notre
Oh,
Dame was up
asterisks.
there, and then Notre Dame lost 2 full seasons of wins, one being an undefeated season because they had that one cheating scandal where this one like tutor helped a couple players. Oh, lost Justin. Helped a couple players on some tests or something, and
When was
they
that?
lost all their games. This was like 10 years ago. This was under Brian Kelly. But, like North Carolina, who created fake classes for their student athletes to get easy A's so they could keep on the team,
Totally
no
fine.
sanctions, nothing. Yeah, like the NCAA is a joke. So the win percentage stuff is always kind of a joke. But I think it's Ohio State right now. But I had a couple comments based on what Justin said. I think one, the crazy thing with Signetti is like all these other coaches, I think they just hired the right guy. Like right now in this era of like, oh, it's just all about the talent. Like he's kind of proven that wrong. It's like he came from James Madison. I know he was like an underling of Saban at one point, but he kind of proved that like you don't need an Ohio State recruiting class or transfer class to compete. You just need the right guy, along with some talent, obviously, that fit your program. Um, Two, I was just thinking this the other day. I hope IU people don't forget this, and I don't think they do. But you have to give some credit to Tom Allen. IU wasn't even on the map until Tom Allen got there, and Tom Allen put you guys on like at least the national conversation. Obviously, he had like kind of a fall off at the end, and it wasn't impressive. But nobody fucking watched IU football, and Tom Allen had a couple good seasons and kind of carried them. I kind of feel like it's similar with like Notre Dame and Brian Kelly. It's like Notre Dame sucked for so long and they never could win games. Brian Kelly got them kind of back to being like relevant again. And then they got like a Marcus Freeman who everybody loves and like a good coach. I think it's like similar trajectory for IU. I don't know Tom Allen that intimately of his career and everything, but he had some pretty he's the only IU coach I've ever even heard of, other than Lee Corso, who is like historically bad.
Hey, I mean, Tom Allen came up with LEO, love each other, and while we quickly got rid of that slogan at IU football, I will say this team loves each other. They've got the heart. You hear the way they talk about each other. Don't hear many other football teams do that or that put in the fight. I got to give a shout out to this guy. I just looked him up because I was watching the game. If you remember, Ohio State, it was the one where the drive where Ohio State was down to like their 4-yard line and got stopped on that 4th and 1 that they reviewed. There was this defensive lineman, 97, I remember his number, Mario Landino. This guy was like gassed out of his mind. They had, Ohio State, that was a long drive. They drove like 80 yards down the field. And this guy is like just dying, like begging to get relieved for someone to come in and let him out. He started running out. Coach, like one of the coach, like runs out, literally pushes him back onto the field and's like, "You're not coming out." Like they literally would not let him sub out. He's just dying, and he stayed in there all 4 of those downs and got that stop ultimately on that 4th down. And I was just I don't know. I've been pretty surprised to see that, or to see just you hear the post-game interviews putting God first a lot, which I love. State school, putting God first every interview. All the players are doing it. So I think there's just a lot of heart, and that counts for something, When you need that 1 yard, when you need that field goal to miss, the big man upstairs is helping us out.
So
And
I
my
gotta.
And your dad. He's a big man upstairs.
Mendoza is a bit of a cheese ball. He's got
goober
Kirk
was the
Cousins
word I was going to
vibes.
describe him. He's a
He's got
goober.
major
flipping.
Kirk Cousin vibes.
What do you say?
But
We're
he's
flipping number
good.
1. We're
Yeah,
flipping
we're
Big
flipping
Ten
number
champs.
one. You know what's really interesting? And this, I feel like this can bring us a little bit away specifically from sports for the non-sports people. Is like I've noticed in the last couple football seasons, there's been a large religious emphasis by a lot of the players and coaches. I mean, there's always been like in an interview post game where they say like, "All glory to God," like I couldn't do this without him and stuff. But like, I went to the national championship game last year for the Ohio State Notre Dame, and before the game, like half of the team of both teams like got together in like a prayer circle and started praying. Like I'd say at least like 20 to 30 guys from each team before they even played together were like in a prayer circle together, all, doing their prayer and like saying, like hoping for the best out of the game. Like, I don't remember ever seeing that before. I wonder if there's some resurgence of religion. Like, I found it interesting considering it feels like religion had been kind of fading in our generation, but these guys are younger than us and they have a large religious aspect to their life. It was interesting to see.
I
It
think
could
we
be
talked
just in
about that
sports or
in
what.
Symposium podcast episode number 3, maybe.
In the archives.
Yeah, just the cyclical nature. Like you look at the 50s and it's like pretty religious and conservative time period, and you just watch how generations change a little bit. And I feel like our generation, millennial generation, is like one of the most secular, non-religious generations in like, the recent millennia. And I think that it feels natural that eventually people are going to need something to believe in again. I think that in podcast episode number 3, we were talking about, AI doomerism and like what is the purpose of humanity if AI is going to suck it all up. Then it kind of makes sense that people will naturally start to revert towards like religion. I don't know if that's related to sports teams, but maybe it's another data point in the shuffle there.
I don't know if there's any correlation to this, but I do think that when you are putting yourself in like really high pressure make or break scenario, like situations where you're like putting everything out there, giving everything you got, also doing something that's pretty dangerous, I think you like naturally, I'm guessing, over index to looking towards religion. Or when you're, you know what I'm saying? Like you need something because you're completely exposed to this sport or this game. This is your entire life, and it's also a dangerous thing you're doing. So I don't know if that's like true or not, but I do know like a lot, if you watch before a football game specifically, a lot of more, it will shock you how many players seem to pray or do something before the game, like in an end zone, whether they're doing it together or not. I don't know, but at least like I've noticed that quite a bit. So I don't think you're wrong, Matthew. I just don't know the exact reason.
I also think it could be something to do with like their socioeconomic background. I think generally the the more wealthy you become, I feel like, and more education people have, I feel like they lean away from religion. That might be a blanket statement, a generalization, but I feel like that's maybe generally the case. And I think
Especially with
most
education, I
people,
think.
yeah, and I
Well,
mean, just the more
that
money you have, the more education you have generally. And I think generally, if you're going into professional sports, those people are usually coming from a lower socioeconomic background because that's their way out of poverty
and
or not even
and
poverty, whatever so class you're in.
so then I think the word is gratitude. Like they're looking for, you made it now to the top 0.00001% of, what all the people you grew up with. 1 out of 1,000,000 makes it to where you got to. And so you have this gratitude, and you're trying to figure out like why you made it there. And I think like the answer is like, well, I for some reason like got chosen to be the one by a higher power to get this opportunity. And so
It'll
then
be interesting to see if that spreads. You got millions of people watching these guys being religious, and come religion was not cool for a very long period of time. But if it starts being cool again, I wonder if we'll start to see religion being more popularized, just in general society in the coming years.
the hard part about religion is continuing to believe when you don't make it to that 0.0001%, when you don't get all the spoils and all the millions of dollars and all the opportunity.
You have to believe in order to get there. That's
When
Well,
it's
that's
tough.
what I was, that's where
yeah.
you were saying gratitude. I would almost say traditionally people lean towards religion out of desperation. And I'm not saying that's always the case, but I think generally you see poorer communities be very religious because when you don't have a clear out of the tough situation that you're in, you kind of to invoke the religion, you go for a Hail Mary and and pull a little football in there, and you you lean to religion. Same as like, when people get sick, people tend to get religious, or when you get old, because you don't know what the end might bring. So people tend to lean towards religion because they don't really know and they're desperate and they need an answer. And usually you turn to a higher power. Whether that's correct or not, who am I to say? But I think that generally is why you see that in lower socioeconomic class. But I do think it's interesting that it seems to be more prevalent now, or at least maybe we just didn't notice it before, or maybe it's cyclical, like Sam said. But who's to say?
I'd be
I
interested to
found it
see the
interesting.
data on like religion and socioeconomic status and wealth and education.
Well, I think there's also a different corollary though, because it could be a generation thing entirely, because there's also trends of like Gen Zers drinking less alcohol, partying less. Like there's an entire shift that's occurring from what we are, how we all grew up. We were part of, the millennial generation that still drank a ton, still party a lot. And now you have this new generation that's inherently doing that less. You're seeing things like an emphasis on religion, like more of an emphasis on religion. So you do kind of wonder of like there is typically something that is causing this, right? And I don't think this is happening randomly. So it's not, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. I mean, obviously, drinking less means you're healthier inherently. So there's benefits to being doing these. There's benefits to having your faith. It's mental well-being. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. So it's just kind of this. I wonder what caused it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Is there are things, I mean, maybe this route, are things that bad that you have to really focus on yourself in other ways to, I'm being dramatic, but survive it out there, these days? Like, is that a cause? I don't know. What are your guys' opinion? Is there something that maybe is pushing this generation towards that type of stuff, or is it just random? Do we think this is truly a random cycle?
Could I, well, to be fair, the example that I brought up was Notre Dame versus Ohio State, and they're both Midwest schools. One of them literally being a religious college. So it could just be the examples we pick. It would be interesting to
They've
see,
been
like, if we
praying
looked.
since 1884,
Yeah,
whenever their
exactly.
first game was.
So, like, it'd be interesting if there's no Pac-12 anymore, but it'd be interesting if we polled like the West Coast teams and tried to look at their games and pre-game rituals and post-game interviews to see if you'd see much reference to religion versus the South, the Bible Belt, and the Midwest, where there tends to be a larger religious volume of believers in the United States. So it could just be completely regional, and that's just an observation we're seeing because the Midwest teams are better this year and the SEC, and there's just not many West Coast teams. But who
Austin, what do you
knows?
think?
I don't know. I mean, the part around like not drinking or partying as much is true, but then I think about like what are we did we just find a better addiction in like TikTok or social media, or I don't know. Or is it those, or are those things, are the influencers essentially winning that are saying don't do those self-destructive things, which maybe is not a bad like outcome of social media if you think about like who are if the influencers are just competing for attention, are the ones that are preaching about doing the right thing to your body winning, and that's making people act a certain way. I don't know that the Catholic or Christian influencers are necessarily winning, but I do know that there's a lot that probably have a lot of like big followings that have certainly contributed to people thinking about religion more than maybe they had before. So I don't know. I'm sure that that's having an impact. I mean, I would I don't know actually. Would you rather have, this is a good hypothetical. If you had to pick, would you rather have someone that drank all the time or was addicted to TikTok? Probably addicted to TikTok. I don't know. Like what's worse for you? So, it's hard to say. I think we're a society that just naturally is very addiction driven, and so we're going to find whatever that thing is, and hopefully
Would
you
you
get
say
addicted to the
religion is
right
an
things.
addiction? Is that sort of what
I
you're
think it
saying?
could. I mean it'd be sure. I mean it's however you choose, however you have so many minutes, so how are you going to spend them, I guess? And we've all choose to spend them differently in different ways over time.
I think I go more with the generational side of things and looking more broadly at the environment that kids are being raised in today. And I think maybe it's interesting to think about our generation replacing God with, or religion in general with, capitalism and the economy. Like, God doesn't provide anymore. The economy provides, and everything that we've sort of built our society around has been like consumption and production, and you get everything from the economy. You don't get anything from God anymore. And I think that kids today are raised in sort of an environment where it's like, what matters anymore. And we talk a lot about how the consumer-based economy that we have today produces like worse and worse crap every year. And the bleak environment with just like the internet and just things in general, it feels like people today need something that means something. And I think that religion is a natural place to find meaning in life, and is probably a safe haven away from the social media doom scroll, or the consumerism that's causing all kinds of issues, or the AI that's potentially going to take our jobs. Like, it just feels very very, very distraction based, and like not so much meaning in people's lives today. Like, what do you live for other than to produce and be a part of the economy? Not to be so like dreary about it, because there's a lot of great things about the economy. You spend it with your loved ones doing the things that you love, but it feels like to me more so a bit of a backlash against the complete replacement of believing in something higher than yourself and your own pleasures and your own benefits, which is, I think, the place that we've sort of been for the past 20 or 30 years. I don't know.
I think it could also potentially, um, I think there's a potential it could be related to the political climate a bit, like who's president right now. I think Trump has made it, I don't want to say cool, but like a lot of his constituents are hardcore Christians. And so I mean, he was elected president, which means a large part of his base is probably hardcore Christians. And then it's almost like people feel more empowered to accept their religion. Like, I think when there was more, when the Democrats are in power, where the Democrats are in power, Democrats lean to be less religious, I think, on whole, and Republicans tend to be a little more religious. And if there's a Republican president, I think maybe that could also just play into it, and people feel like a little more empowered to speak up about their religion, because that's like no one has a problem with it.
Cancel culture is dead. It's beautiful. Say whatever we want. That's what I said. Picked a perfect time to start a podcast. We literally started this podcast in January, same month the cancel culture died. And now we're a year in and we haven't been canceled. If Biden was president, we would have been out after episode 1.
I'm on mute here. I'd be careful though, because cancel culture has shown it does not care when you posted something. So you will say this now and say, "Oh, it's a great time. We just started a podcast. We can say whatever we want." And the fickle thing about the American politics is that it can go either way. And 4 years from now, you get slandered for, or you get called out for 2025 comments. So
that's true. Everybody's out there talking like there's no risk in the future. It's a good point.
And based on what we saw in a couple of elections, it could very well be right back to that in 2028.
Yeah, that's a good topic that we haven't. I mean, gosh, how did we not even think to add that to our docket? Mundami. We also haven't talked about the Irish. Do we? All right,
I was going to say that before we move too far away from college football. The Irish don't come the Irish.
Here don't come the Irish. Should we close the loop and just do a quick run around to hear thoughts on the Fighting Irish. Then we got to get to socialism because I forgot about Mandami getting elected. We have to talk about that. And then
And
that I think will
Venezuela.
and Venezuela, and we got to partly that into this housing story and how people aren't buying houses or having kids, and we're all kind of flipped. Is that we're flipping? Yeah, flipped.
Yeah.
I guess that's our word for F, flipped. All right, so Notre Dame, Matthew, Justin, diehard fans have pretty much staked their entire lives and reputations on Notre Dame football, and they just had one of the biggest disappointments of their young lives on Saturday, as the Fighting Irish get left out of the top 12. Tulane beats them out. You see, for an uninformed listener, that'll be funny. And we'll explain
It's okay.
it. And yeah, so just pretty shocking. Then like the what two loss losers they were this year decline a bowl invitation.
Let's just dive into this a little bit, okay?
Let's dive into it. Tell me how you feel.
At I might have the time off by an hour, but at 11:55 on Sunday, if you went into your FanDuel apps, Notre Dame was a minus 3,200 to make the playoffs. Based on a Reddit comment I read, this guy did the math, and that's about a 95% likelihood to make the college football playoff. This was 5 minutes before the show started. 15 minutes into the show, or whenever they, release the bracket, and Notre Dame's not there, I mean, bam! Obviously, that whatever guess that was supposed to be 95% most likely to happen does not happen. So now, as Notre Dame fans, you can feel like I'm doing this all based on this math of something that was only 5% chance of happening ended up happening. So this giant rug pull, I heard that phrase a lot today. I listened to a lot of different podcasts today just talking about it. Rug pull was a thing a lot of people said. It's just like, it's a gut punch, right? It's just kind of like are you kidding me? Granted, this wasn't totally out of the cards. It was just, for some reason, even Vegas was fooled. Vegas had us pegged in there. They, if you would have bet, I don't know what even the reverse of that is, $1 and something's plus 3,200. How much are you making? Like $32 or something like that. I don't know if the odds for them to not make it was on there, but it was just really unexpected in terms of like right before and even Vegas. But I think Matthew can go into, he had this kind of pegged. I think you were more mentally prepared for this, Matthew, than a lot of Notre Dame fans were. But you can talk about that a little bit.
That you are right, Justin. I think I texted you guys, 3-4 weeks ago saying we weren't going to make the playoff. I've been saying it for at least a month that we weren't going to make the playoff. I am an eternal pessimist when it comes to Notre Dame football, growing up as a fan and us constantly losing. So it wasn't that big of a shock to me. But okay, here's my take on the whole thing. I think it came down to three teams. One was going to get left out, right? It came down to Alabama, Miami, and Notre Dame. I think all of them have a fair claim to be in the playoff. They all have pretty similar resumes. They all, there's not college football is crazy because everybody plays different schedules, and it's kind of hard to just say like their schedule is harder than this one, blah blah blah. All of them had a fair claim to it. They're duking it out for like a bottom seed anyway. It's like at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. And Notre Dame, going into the season, we knew that losing 2 games is basically a death sentence for us. And we lost the 2 biggest games of the year, like the only 2 that were really that competitive. So, like, at the end of the day, you can point the finger at yourself and say we should have won those games. Like the Texas A&M loss was pretty bad. They should have won that game at home. Too many mistakes. Early in the season, sure, whatever. So Notre Dame not getting in, not the problem in my opinion. I think if you are a rational Notre Dame fan and you watched what happened, you're not solely upset that they put in Miami over us or Alabama over us. The problem is essentially the committee was just lying about the rankings until the last week. because if you look at the rankings, at the very end of the season, after the last game of the year, last weekend, Alabama played a very close game to Auburn. So, okay, let me set the stage actually. Notre Dame was number 9, Alabama was number 10. Those are the last 2 seeds that could get in. And Alabama fought a very close game at Auburn that they very easily could have lost. Took them a 4th down conversion in the red zone to win that game. And Auburn is a terrible team this year. They're like 5-7. Notre Dame crushed a bad Stanford team that's like 3-8. Somehow Alabama got moved ahead of us after that weekend. Didn't make a whole lot of sense. I kind of thought maybe they always thought Alabama was better but screwed up, so they moved them ahead. So then Alabama's number 9. Alabama's number 9 now. Notre Dame drops to number 10, the last weekend of the year. And so the very last weekend of the year, there's literally no regular season games left. Notre Dame is ahead of Miami. And BYU is ahead of Miami. Notre Dame's 10, BYU is 11, Miami is 12. If you're doing a ranking system, you rank the teams on which you think are the best teams in that order. Then we go into this weekend being in the playoff, and there was a chance if BYU won and Alabama won, I could see Notre Dame getting dropped because BYU would have taken our spot as a conference champ. Texas Tech would still be in. They'd knock us out. Alabama would be in too. Alabama gets slaughtered in the championship game to Georgia. To be fair, they played an extra game, so if you want to leave them in, so be it. But they didn't look good, and it kind of depends on like when you're good. That's kind of important. Their last 2 games of the year, they did not look good. And then Notre Dame and Miami both don't play, and BYU loses, and now magically Miami's a better team than Notre Dame. So the signaling, they were telling us all year that Notre Dame was better than Miami. They'd never moved them ahead of them. And then the last week when neither team played, and the only difference is the team in between them lost, now Miami's better. Like that they just kind of lied about, if they always thought Miami was better, rank Miami better at the end of the year. That would have been fine. At least Notre Dame people would have been like, okay, we lost the head-to-head. I think rationally you can accept that. They're pretty similar schedules. They lost head-to-head. Miami can get in. But they said after last week, knowing that no team was going to play each other, and neither team was going to play, that Notre Dame was the better team. And then magically them not playing, and Notre Dame's the only opponent that either of them had on their schedule that played that weekend was Boise State, which Notre Dame beat, who ended up being the conference champion of their conference. So like if anything, you're like, oh, Notre Dame gets a little bump there because one of their opponents they beat like won a conference championship. Miami had nobody playing. They didn't play Duke nor Virginia, who were in their conference championship game. And so if you're going to put Miami in, put them in the week before. The committee just did a really bad job of explaining why anybody should be where they are, and just should have put, if they always thought Miami was better, why would they not be ahead of them? Like why would you decide the weekend where no data points have changed that now Miami is in? And so that's where all the conspiracy theories are now coming in. Like the biggest one is that the ACC basically the ACC screwed up. They had like 5 teams tied for second place in their conference. And so Duke ended up being the second team to play Virginia in the conference championship.
Crazy
Duke was 7-5, and they somehow made the conference championship because of a crazy tiebreaker. When Miami really should have been in that game. Miami's 10-2. They should have been in the game, but Duke plays, and Duke ends up winning. So now the ACC essentially is going to get left out of playoff because they don't have a good enough team to get the auto bid. And so the conspiracy theory is basically saying that Miami got in because the ACC was going to get dropped, and there's a lot of money involved, and the conferences thought this playoff system basically guaranteed all the Power 4 conferences a spot. ACC screwed themselves by the way their tiebreaker is set up, and so now they basically put in Miami because the conference was going to lose a spot. And then everybody also thinks that Alabama, it's kind of crazy that Alabama didn't even drop one spot because they were the only team out of all the conference champions that lost this weekend and didn't drop at least one place. So people also thought it was just like the SEC kind of keeping another team so they get more money.
But the conference games aren't supposed to matter, right? Because they're extra games.
But they do. Or they have.
That's
It's
the
not
argument.
consistent. That's the problem.
Like all the other teams dropped. So Ohio State dropped by losing to Indiana. BYU dropped because they lost to Texas Tech.
Virginia didn't
Virginia
make
would have
the-
been in,
yeah.
but it doesn't matter. They bounced out. And then who am I forgetting? ACC, SEC, Big 12, and Big 10. Did I name everybody?
Well, Alabama's the other loss.
Oh, and then Alabama. But Alabama they lost very badly. It was 28-7, and they scored very late in the fourth quarter. Like that game was never close. And somehow, like, even if you're gonna leave Alabama in, you gotta drop them to 10. And they didn't even drop them one spot. They stayed at 9 for getting murdered in a championship game. And they also didn't reward Georgia. So it's like, why did that game even matter? Those two teams played and literally did not budge one spot for playing the game. So it just doesn't really explain why there's a conference championship if it doesn't really have an impact.
So Notre Dame, I saw the news. The team voted, right?
Team captains came together with the coach and said,
It wasn't the whole team.
I don't know if at least what I read was not the whole team, but the captains did, and they came together and they said, look, based on everybody who's transferring, sitting out because they got pros, injuries, it's not going to be the same team that would have played in the playoffs. So we're not going to play a game.
So they declined any bowl games.
They declined
right?
any bowl game. Now, I do think that is controversial. I do think you should probably still play your bowl game. I think they should have waited a day. The fact they came out so fast after that and said, we're not playing a bowl game, screams of just an emotional response, and I get that emotional response. But I would like to have seen at least a day to sit on it, like reflect, like, hey, these are your seniors that are not going to NFL. This is the last game. You should maybe respect their wishes. Be like, hey, they didn't know that Stanford was going to be their last game. No one really thought that, right? Everybody was like, oh, playoff time, baby. Or at worst, a bowl game. Now they don't have either. So that game, maybe you didn't spend an extra 15 minutes on the field after you played because you thought you had another one as a senior. That kind of sucks. I'll be honest. That would be kind of now you have an artificial end of your season. So it is. I don't agree with the final decision. I think it's too late. I'm pretty sure it's too late now. They could have been the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That's the rumor. Like maybe not even a rumor. I think it's confirmed they were going to play BYU or got the offer to play BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which is like the best bowl because of the mascot thing they do. Which props to Pop-Tarts. Crazy marketing campaign. And they make like what? That's like a 6 foot tall Pop-Tart. It's amazing. It's a great gig. But I am disappointed they're not playing in the bowl game because I just like watching Notre Dame.
What I've been curious about, and maybe Matthew or Justin, you can tell me, when the playoff era began, why did we decide on a committee rather than just using the AP poll as our rankings system? You could still have the group of 5, you still do 12 teams, whatever, top 10 in the AP and plus the 2 highest, what group, I don't know, you figure out a way. I think you should just say, fuck it, fuck those other schools, and just put the goddamn 12 best teams out there and let them go play, personally. But how did we end up with a committee?
So essentially, people are never happy in college football. So we got to the BCS, right? The BCS started, well, so to take you back
BCS
for
was computer.
people who are probably our age, who don't really know the history of college football and how championships were decided. Before the 2000s, the way the national championship was decided was there were a bunch of bowl games, like the major bowl games, like Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, like those bowls. And the top teams would play in those games. Like usually the top like 12, 15 teams would play in those games. And then after those games are played, the AP poll would vote and the coaches poll would vote and they would rank the teams and whoever won is the national champion. They didn't have a national championship game.
There was no game?
There's no game. It was all like, so like the number 1 team could play the number 10 team and win their game, but not be the national champion because the number 2 team could have played the number 3 team and beat the number 3 team, and the writers decide, well, that's a more impressive win than the 1 seed over the 10 seed. So now the 2 seed just wins. The number 2 team is the champion of the year, even though the 1 seed won the game that they played. So like after a while, people didn't like that system because inherently, if you listen to that, you're like, that's crazy. You were number one. Why aren't you number one now? So in the 2000s, they came up with the BCS, and the BCS essentially decided we should have a championship game. That makes the most sense. So they took the rankings, and at the end of the year, whoever was the number one and number 2 team, they played each other in the national championship. But after a couple years, people were like, that's not really fair either because we have all these conferences playing all these different teams. Nobody's really easy to compare, and sometimes it's not really clear on who's the number one, number 2 team. So there's always an argument of like, oh, the 3rd and 4th team really thought they deserved to play for it too. So eventually we came to a playoff. Then we came to a 4-team playoff. Then we got the 4 teams, but they then decided that's not enough because there's, the 5th seed team felt like they got robbed. And so we just keep constantly expanding until we appease everybody. And so that's how we're at 12, and they'll probably go to 16. The reason they didn't like the AP poll was because the AP poll is decided by writers. It's a vote of all the college sports football writers in the nation, and people don't think that's a good aggregate way to rank teams because all of them have inherent bias. Like these are all writers for different universities, and like for cities, like they might, they're a writer for the New York Post, so they might have a bias towards Rutgers or whatever. They're writers for different newspapers. So they didn't like that. And so eventually they were like, let's do the BCS, which was like computer based. But, just like AI and all the other things we talk about, algorithms have flaws. And if you run up the score on teams, the computer didn't do a very good job of like differentiating that. So when Notre Dame beat Syracuse this year, like 70-5 or whatever it was, they're like, oh, Notre Dame's really good, even though, we just really beat up on a really bad team. So it wasn't great at that. So then they kept like, let's move to this committee. We'll get a bunch of people who are inherently involved in, or like,
Unbiased.
yeah, unbiased because they're like, which is crazy because they have like athletic directors on the board, which is absurd. But they have athletic directors. They have a mix of like former players, people who used to work in the sport. Condoleezza Rice was on it at one point. Like it's like a weird mix of people. But they're like, oh, they all have experience. So if we have a committee, it'll be better. Just like democracy, right? The more representation we get, the better answer we'll get. And so that's why they moved to this committee. But inherently somebody's gonna get left out. It happened to be Notre Dame this year. It sucks, but I can live with it. They just need a better way of really explaining themselves. Like they had the wrong fucking guy up there trying to explain why they left Notre Dame out because there was no logic to any of it. And that's why those Vegas odds that Justin was talking about. Because like Vegas has to base all their data and predictions off other data points. And where are the data points for Notre Dame being good? It's like you rank them every single week. And then there's a game that neither team had to play that would knock them out. It's like, well, how would Vegas not have them super highly likely? There's no more data points. And so the inherent flaw there is like the committee just in the last day just said, fuck all the other rankings. We're just starting over. So it's like, why are you guys showing us the rankings like this every single week and acting like it matters if in the last week you're just going to decide whatever you came up with at the end? And so that's where people are really pissed. But to the point of what Justin was saying, I actually want to take the other side of the argument. I think it's fantastic that they did not go into a bowl game. I think for the last 5 years, the bowl game since the playoffs, the bowl games have been stupid. At the end of the day, people want to take both sides on this argument. They want to hate on Notre Dame because they're this big brand and they think Notre Dame's all about the money, and that's the only reason anybody ever puts them in the bowl games or anything is just about the money, right? Notre Dame finally just says, fuck the bowl games, which if you are honest about what the bowl games are at this point, they are cash grabs. They are for ESPN and any of the sponsor of each bowl to make a fuck ton of money in advertising. That is all it says. And the bowl games are all run. They're all on ESPN. And Notre Dame is taking a stand against ESPN because in ESPN, and I don't think this is a biased take. I think if anybody's been watching ESPN over the last couple of weeks, ESPN has TV contracts right now with the SEC and the ACC. the two teams that knocked Notre Dame out of the playoff on the last day, and they have been ripping Notre Dame apart the last 2 to 3 weeks on them saying that they don't deserve to be in it over Miami. And there was a clear
I didn't think
bias
about it
by
like
the
this. Yeah.
TV partner to have their teams in the playoff because they have TV contracts with them. And Notre Dame, if you know about Notre Dame football, they have a TV contract with NBC. It is not, they have no contract with ESPN or they don't have any contract with ESPN. So they're basically saying, why would we take our brand, which will bring lots of viewership to ESPN for free, when you guys have been screwing us the last couple weeks with all your media content to say that we don't deserve to be in this? The only advantage for us playing this game is it'll bring a bunch of money. And people are getting mad at Notre Dame like, oh, they're taking their football. They didn't get in, so they're taking their football and going home. I'm like, they're trying to make a statement saying we're not going to take our brand and give you a bunch of money when you've been screwing us. Why should we? And these games, people want to act like this is the old playoff or the old bowl system. Like, it's not. These games mean absolutely nothing. For the last 5 to 8 years, multiple teams have agreed not to play in these games, or they bench all their players, or their players have decided not to play in them because they're going pro. The only reason it's a big deal is because Notre Dame's a big brand and they got left out, and people hate Notre Dame. To be fair, like, I think that it's warranted a lot of time, but people just don't like Notre Dame especially. And with the timing of them getting left out, people are saying that, it's them bitching that they didn't get in. And I'm sure that's part of it, but I think a bigger part of it is them trying to make a statement. It's like, we're not just going to give you free money when you've been basically screwing us the last couple weeks. Why would we? And the games don't matter. They're stupid. Who watches the bowl games outside the playoff? Nobody cares about them.
Yeah,
Justin watches the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
That soliloquy right there. It's fun. I listened to McElroy today, Pate today, Clatt today, like all the podcast stuff. They didn't mention that one time. And I did not think of it one time. Like, my brain has not been around the network bias.
ESPN contracts?
I knew the
College
ACC
football
problem
is money.
but like,
That's all it is.
yeah.
It is all
So
about money. At the end of the
that
day,
kind of brings me around to your side a little bit.
they want the money, and they're going to do whatever they can to get as much money as possible. And
It's kind
what's
of a
funny,
game of chicken, really.
yeah, it totally
Like,
is.
is Notre Dame going to blink eventually and join a conference and then get? But like, Notre Dame can't join a conference because they have this NBC deal
Notre
that
Dame
pays them,
Notre Dame has a press conference tomorrow.
billions
at
of
noon.
dollars.
Do you see this?
Really?
Notre Dame's AD has a
Alleged-
press
yeah.
conference at noon tomorrow. Nobody knows what he's going to talk about, but he has a press conference. It should be very interesting. And today he's been doing a press tour. He was on Dan Patrick today. Pete Bavacqua, I believe is his name. He's the new AD. And he said that the ACC Notre Dame relationship has been severely damaged. And the ACC president has had to come out and say, we tried our best to advocate for the 17 teams in the ACC. By no means did we advocate against Notre Dame. So there's definitely some tension there. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to say tomorrow, but it could be interesting. The problem is their contract with the ACC is through like 2037, and they had to pay a bunch of money to break it. So I don't know if they would. And
I
all
wonder
their
how
other
much it
teams
is,
are in it. All the other sports are in it. So they could get screwed. But like, if the ACC wanted to, I'm sure they could like drop them from their sports or the other sports. I don't know how.
So
that would
why
work.
won't they just play? Why are they? And this is probably a stupid question. Well, no, it's not. Why don't they just like truly join the ACC so that they could actually play in a conference championship game?
Because they have this contract with NBC. They have the
So they have to just
amount
be
of
half.
money.
So what benefit are they getting? Like, they're getting scheduled, like they get to get on the schedules, but they don't get any of this benefit of actually potentially winning a conference championship, which would have solved all their problems to begin with here. Although who knows,
benefit of not
if they
being
would
a
have,
conference
Duke
to
might have
them,
been in the game still.
the benefit of them not being a conference to them highly outweighs joining a conference. So the contract with NBC, they're getting way more money than the partners of the other conferences. right? So like if you right you get if there's $1 billion split between the Big Ten has 20 teams, every team's getting 500K, right? But if you're Notre Dame, that NBC contract might be worth $1 billion. So you're getting double the money that all the other teams would get in those conferences. I don't know what the number is actually, but I know they're making more money that way. They also get the major benefit of when the conferences make the playoff, they split that money, the earnings from those games in the playoff between the conference. But Notre Dame doesn't. So when Notre Dame won the national championship last year, they won 4 games, or they lost the national championship last year. They went to 4 games in the playoff. They got money from every single game, and every game, all that money went directly into their pocket, and they did not have to split it with anybody else. So the financial incentives just highly outweigh them joining a conference, and until they're forced
They just have to
I
win
don't
all their
think they
games.
will. Yeah. If they would have lost
They won't be
just to
forced if they
Miami,
just keep winning their games.
they're 100% in
Yeah.
this year. But
Yeah.
they lost 2 games. So be it. They knew that going in. That's where, like,
Which
at the end of the day, you can't complain too much. Like, you knew you
And
had.
next year's is just worse. Oh
But yeah,
my
next
god,
year's
their schedule
bad.
next
They have a
year,
weak schedule.
it is worse than this year by far.
But
Rice.
I was looking in the future. Next year's bad, but 2027,
Texas.
28, and 29 are tough schedules. Like, actually difficult schedules.
29,
So,
I think 29, I think Indiana, 29 and 30, Indiana.
30,
and
31.
Notre Dame.
I was
Or
just
30,
looking at
31.
30, 31, we get to IU. I think it's the first game of the year. That'll be fun. If
Exciting
Cignetti's still
stuff
there.
happening in the college football world. Lots of drama, lots of change, lots of potential corruption and conspiracy theories. There's a shakeup happening, that's for sure. IU. It's exciting stuff for us Indianians.
It is a wild world where Notre
Maybe
Dame
we
get
should
left
become a
out of the
sports
playoff,
podcast.
and IU is the #1 team in the nation. I'll be rooting for you guys though. That would be
And
awesome.
we appreciate that, Thank you.
There's very few teams to root for in this playoff. IU's the easiest.
Thanks for all that info. I didn't know 5% of that, so.
Anytime.
There you
I
go.
could
You
talk your
learned
ear
something
off.
new. Should we become a sports podcast?
Justin and I are just gonna
Just
do
have
a rage
Sports
bait
Corner.
Notre Dame podcast on the side.
Port Corner. You can use our Riverside subscription to just create a.
Maybe
So,
like
yeah.
offshoot TV shows. Like remember when
Guys just
sitcoms
throw
were such
glass
a
at
big
the wall.
deal, and then they'd like make a separate show off of a sitcom, like one character would
Yeah.
get their own show. We'll start doing that with our podcasts.
Do that for Symposium. I like it.
We'll do our own solo podcast for Symposium, where we all just pick a topic and go.
I think that'd be really challenging to do a solo
We've
podcast.
talked about doing that a few times.
I listen to a
Man.
couple of solo podcasts. They are very tough, or at least I'm always impressed that they can just keep going and going.
Well, like, how does Ben Shapiro talk to himself every single day at 120 miles per hour?
If
You
you
gotta have
It'd
think
be nice
you,
if we had a chat.
yeah, you need to chat. Well, chat would make it easier in that way. He also has it very prepared. If you had 10 things to talk about, you
Yeah.
could probably spend at least 5 minutes on each topic, and then you just move on to the next topic. Granted, he
That's
does it
true.
like 5 topics, so it's not. You do it talk a decent amount of time.
Maybe we need a staff. All right. Well, should we move to what do we talk about? Housing or socialism or what's piquing everyone's interest these days? Do we care to talk
GameStop.
about Mandami? What'd you say, Sam?
I said GameStop. Their earnings is tomorrow.
Boy.
Quarterly
What are you
earnings.
expecting on GameStop's
On
earnings
that.
tomorrow, Sam?
You guys, I'm telling you, it's a cultural phenomenon that people are. Nobody can even look at GameStop because it's such a joke to like see if there's anything serious there. It's like you hear the word and people's brains just shut off. But I'm telling you, they're a profitable company and they've got a pretty interesting business model in the works. They're basically a casino now. It's very interesting.
Are they doing the prediction markets? How are they casino?
Well, why don't I, this is unscripted, but why don't I just do this real quick and I can show you guys.
Should we also disclose Sam's position in GameStop?
Sam is an investor in GameStop.
No,
Is
I
he
don't own
a
any
shareholder?
GameStop.
This is
Okay,
not
let me see.
investment advice.
Here we go. So what if can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you guys heard of power packs? So, little backstory, if I may. Sorry about that. So, the trading card business is exploding, and I have firsthand experience of this through real estate. I put a client into a space about 4 years ago. He was, a guy who bought like buckets full of people's old Pokemon cards, and his whole business model was he went through these Pokemon cards, sorted them, and then sent them in for official grading, like you would with an appraiser. Somebody looks at the card and says, this is a rare card without any damage. It's a 9 out of 10. And there is a whole marketplace online that's existed for years that just trades rare cards. Some of them are upwards of $30,000. This guy, this is about 4 years ago. His wife was a nurse. She spent all of her life savings to help him open up a storefront so that he could buy and sell more of these cards. He's exploded in business. And there's a place on one of our main thoroughfares in the market. It's like a 10,000 square foot warehouse where people go to buy and sell trading cards. It's a weird market that not a lot of people are part of, but these guys are it's a huge industry, and it's growing really, really fast, and it makes a ton of money. So here, GameStop comes in, and they make this program called Power Packs. This is new as of the last 6 months or so. And what they've done is they've partnered with the only company that grades cards for official value. And this company, it's called PSA. People can send in their cards, they grade them, they send them back. GameStop now has this program where you can buy a card online, and I'll do it here live just for the sake of symposium. I think I might have to sign in, so let me I'm going to stop sharing just to hide my identity here for a moment.
Sam is willing to spend 25 live dollars for just a live demonstration, a show and tell, if you will.
I am. That is correct.
That's dedication to the cause. How many viewers are we at now, Austin?
We're at 1 viewer.
We've had 3 at some point. Up to 4, actually.
I wasn't ever on the YouTube page. You need to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't. Tell 5 friends to do the same.
Okay. Let me open this back up. So do you guys know anything about trading cards or that whole industry, or is this all news to you?
I've never once
I knew that
had a
grading
trading
site.
card.
Those guys
a big
they're
industry.
probably the biggest ones in the industry, right?
Gary V talks about trading cards a lot.
Ah, shit. All right, I did it without the screen share, but I'll do it again because I spent $25 and I pulled this card, Slowpoke, and it is worth $39 according to this website called Card Ladder, which is a database where people have been trading cards for years and years and years. So I spent $25 and look, it's worth $39. And this is a real picture of a card that's in a plastic case. Here's all of its information. This is 1999. It's a 9 out of 10, mint condition. And what GameStop does is I can either save this in a vault in New Jersey. It's a building, and it's just a little plastic card that's just sitting there, but it belongs to me. But they warehouse it for me. Or I could have them mail it out to me, and I could physically put it in my collection and look at it and say, ooh, Slowpoke, I love you so much. Or I can sell it back for 90% of its value. So I have an immediate option to say, I just spent $25 and I made $14, or no, $9. I can't do math. So I'm going to sell it back for 90% of its total value of $39. So just like this, I say, okay, I'm going to sell it for 90% plus a 6% selling fee. So I'm going to make $32 off of my $25. I accept the buyback, and now I have an
Let's just
option
go.
to buy another pack.
Let's do it.
Let's just run it back. Let's just keep going. So let's do another starter pack for $25. I'm going to use my $44 in my Power Packs account. Let's see what we pull. And here's the animation that I didn't show you before, but come on, let's see. Here we go. Here we go.
Zapdos.
You too. Oh, it's going to be good. What is
Oh,
it?
hell yeah.
Come on, Chan.
Hitmonchan.
$9. Hell yeah. All right. We are pulling.
Melee
This is a
hype.
bubble. This is a bubble.
This
Oh,
is
Yes, I
God.
hate.
So,
Man,
I mean,
managed
do I
to
want to view this card in my collection, or do I want to sell it back for 44%?
Oh my
I'm
God.
addicted
This is
already. How
literally
much money can
a
you put in this
casino.
account?
This is a casino. I just put 25 in to start, but look at the options.
Is there a limit?
Buy no
So
pack.
eventually it's going to give you one that's worth like $2, or what happens?
So here, if I buy another pack, I'm gonna hold this one for now because I like Hitmonchan. I'm just gonna add him to my collection. He's gonna sit
Can
in
we
New
view your
Jersey for a
collection?
while. Yeah, we can view my collection. But so over here, let me see if I can. Here's
They have
your
to
odds. You guys see that on the right side?
How many freaking cards?
Oh,
do they
this is a
have,
loot
though?
box.
They've
How
got
many
a ton
cards
of
do they
cards, and they've
have?
been selling out nonstop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've been selling out nonstop, especially these. So they added, like, this is, you spend $2,500 to get one card. If I do this, your odds of getting a card 1.2 to 1.8, 40%. And here are some of the cards. Like, this one's worth $33,000, so you've got a chance. You spend $2,500 and you've got a chance at $33,000. Like, this is a big deal, and I was just searching around on YouTube, just curious about what's going on, and YouTubers will just sit there for hours pulling these $2,500 card packs, and it's got like 70,000 views. Like, very popular content for people to just basically gamble online. And every single time, the magic of it is when I buy that pack and I sell it back to GameStop for 90%, GameStop can immediately take that card and sell it again to the next guy. Put it right back in. And so they're recycling this inventory so fast and making 10% plus a 6% commission on top of it off of every single card. It's an incredible business model, and I'm really excited for earnings tomorrow to see how this is going to affect it, because this last quarter was the first quarter where they had more inventory, and they took it out of beta, so it's open to the public now. And all I've been seeing is out of stock, and these YouTube videos of people with like 30, 40, 50,000 views just pulling card after card after card. Sell back to GameStop, do it again, sell back, add 50 more dollars, keep
that's
buying
not
packs.
your calculation on their financial benefit is a little bit overstated. They're only making that transaction fee. They're not making that 10%, because if they were, that would suggest that they would have to be increasing the selling price of that card, the value of that card, infinitely for every time it changes hands.
When you have that instant buyback option, it's at a 10% discount. So GameStop will actually buy your card from you.
Correct,
for
but now
10% less.
Right, but now
And then
their
they go
cost
back.
basis is $34.
Yep, and then they can go and sell it, and it's
For
worth.
but they have to sell it for 45, or they have to now tell you it's worth 45, and then sell it for
they just made $10 off that.
no. But only one time. But like that. But if 100 people buy that card every day, the price of that card would have to get, like, they would have to elevate the value of that card so much to continue that scheme.
Well,
scheme
explain that to me, because the way I'm thinking about it is, I buy.
So let's
$10.
say they own that card, and that card. So that card. Let's say they originally bought that
It's
card
$10.
for $25. Then they put it out there and give it and tell you it's worth. I don't even then they tell. I don't know how they're assigning the values to these cards.
So it's
first of
through
all.
this. It's through this website called Card Ladder.
Right. Okay. So on Card Ladder, that card was worth $35. Right. So GameStop, let's just say, naturally has a $10 premium up in there where they're in it for $25. They sell it. The value of it is $35. You give $25. They give you a card that's worth $35. Okay. So then you sell it back to them for 30. I know these aren't the exact numbers, right? They had to give you $30 for that card.
Mm-hmm.
So now their cost basis just went from in that card went from 25 to 30. Like their cost basis now is going to have to infinitely inch closer to the street market value of that card, to when there will become a point where they have no money left to make. Like they're the only like asset they have, what they have is the spread between their cost basis in the cards that they own and what the market value of those is. And so as that erodes, every time that thing changes hands, there's no more left. So they're going to have to go back and, like, they're making money on these transaction fees of the $2.99 or whatever it is. But eventually,
6%.
unless they're able to keep buying cards somehow way under market value, or that
what
card
they're
is
doing
not
with the 10%.
or that card, right? But then the next time now their cost basis is 30, but the value is still 35.
So they
So
have to sell,
the value
they would
does
have
not
to-
keep going
yeah.
up. Like the market value of the card does not keep naturally
So
going
somebody
up.
buys a $25 starter pack and they pull that 30%. And I mean, they've got the baked in odds here. So it's a casino where they're going to be making money off of you just playing the game. And they have this $30 card that they say you just won off of a $25 pull, but I'll buy it from you for $28. And then they can go back, somebody spends another $25 and they're playing this game over and over again, and they say, here's another card, it's worth $30 still because that's its official value, but I'll buy it from you for $28. So they're constantly buying 10% under the fair market value and making a 6% commission on the fee every single time, and having these odds that are pre-baked in so that they are a guaranteed winner no matter what. Like, they can't lose on this, and they have recycling inventory that will stay in for a long period of time. They can sell that same card to you through these $25 starter packs over and over and over again.
Correct,
Well,
but they have
maybe-
to have enough losers to offset that because they had to pay you that. You made money on that,
Which
on
is
that
right
deal.
here.
So you have to have a bunch of losers that are, right, that, like, they're going to make money. A casino makes money on the VIG. The VIG is the $2.99 or whatever that card fee is. All the other
6%.
transactions just can net to wash out to zero.
Well, the
They make
benefit
money
for
on the
them-
transaction
So
fee of
Sam,
every
the
time you hit
benefit
that
of
button.
selling
You need
it-
volume on this.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. The benefit for them purchasing it under the value is they're getting inventory. They need cards, right, to continue
and
for
the
traction
user, well,
fees, so that when they
and
buy
their
it
users
back from
only
you, they
have
now
so much
have it.
money.
Well, yeah,
Well,
too.
correct.
But like
if you assume that they're actually only selling a
this to
card to
work-
one person, but yes.
But for this to work, they need massive supply so that they can keep letting people pull cards, right? And there's a limited supply of Pokemon cards. And so when they are the reason they're
or it's
buying
a
it
front
back,
and they're selling them, or they're selling the same card 100 times, and you don't even know that you aren't the only one that owns it. Like, you're putting a lot of faith in the fact that you're the
they
only
could
one
do
that owns that card.
well,
That's a
they could,
Ponzi
but then
right
that's
there.
like illegal. So they could just be doing something illegal. But if they're not,
And I think, yeah, and
I mean, they have a casino that kids can literally go online. A kid can sign up. This is literally legalized gambling for.
well, it's GameStop.
It's
It's
a
a legitimate
loot
business.
box.
So if they're
That's
doing
what it
something it's illegal, then they're doing something illegal. But because the only reason it's illegal is because they're claiming that you can actually own the card. Like, if it wasn't a physical thing, then maybe they could get away with it. But like, you can hypothetically get it. Like, right? They have to have a physical supply.
you can, and you have an option to sell it on eBay. You can have it mailed to you.
So if
they
it's a
just
physical
store it for you.
supply,
But
then in my
so-
opinion, the reason they're buying them back is because they need supply of these cards. Like, if you know the Pokemon market, the inventory is limited. Like, I've seen lots of videos where people are like have you ever seen the vending machines they
Yeah.
have in grocery stores? People are like fighting to get in line because they run out. Because one guy will buy up all the packs and then like leave, and everybody gets pissed.
Yeah.
So like, there's a limited supply of these
Pokemon has a
cards.
reputation.
And so
They have a reputation
yeah.
for saying we're only going to make 500 of these cards, and they never go back and print more. So people know this is a rare card, and Pokemon's not going to dilute the value of it.
It's like the diamond market, right? Like, you limit your supply so that you keep the value up. And if they're going to do this selling, if they're going to do this whole loot box thing, they need inventory. And so they're probably offering under the value of the card so that they can get inventory back. They're like, oh, if we get all these and we keep getting more inventory back, we'll have enough people just keep buying them
It's
and we'll make enough money that it's worth our time, right?
but it's also the other piece that I think is big is that they need people like Sam, right? Sam's not going to just continue buying cards forever. He's only going to want to spend so much money on this. So as long as they keep his account flush with cash to keep hitting that, give me another one, give me another one, give me another one. That's also the end game. So this is literally just a math game that you can figure out how much profit or how much are they paying out in winnings. That needs to be offset by losers, so depletion of the cash balances of people's accounts. However many transactions then that happened in that can be a net zero outcome. How many transactions did we do times 299 is what we made on this deal.
So 90 buyback offer.
So 6%. So off those $30,000 cards, it's 6% of 30,000.
Have you ever lost on one of these?
Yeah. Yeah, I just sold one that was, I've spent $25 and it was $11 value. Here, I just sold a few of my my
And do
vault-
the values change over time, like as you hold them?
They do via card ladder. Like this is basically a live market of bidders and sellers.
And so GameStop's offer to you also changes over time based on
I think
the
they
value?
lock in the offer based off of when you pull the card, and you have like 6 days or something to accept it. So you could, and I was watching people on YouTube play, and there's an arbitrage that you can make because sometimes the pricing is mispriced, or somebody knows something about a card, or it's a new release that doesn't have enough volume to have a fair pricing. So like, oh shit, this card is actually worth way more. So people who are like smart about this, like Pokemon cards and have been in this space, they're all over this because it's an opportunity to like make money. It's a little bit of an inefficient system here, but ultimately GameStop doesn't care because you're right, they're just making that selling fee over and over again. And they just added baseball and basketball, but I think Pokemon is the real winner. So should we do a $50 card?
To do a $2,000.
If you want to keep
No, I
spending
only
your
have
money, go
$62,
Now-
for it.
so
Well, who posted that gambling video in our
I
chat?
guess I could do a gold.
I
could
did.
do a gold.
And this is literally, you said this, Justin. This is like what's happening in video games too, I think, right? Like
They're
they've made
gamifying
this
Well,
where you
Sam's
like you make
thing-
these coin,
Well,
you
what
make
Sam
these
was
like
talking
coin
about
economies.
on Twitch, saying he just watched a dude rip $2,500 packs over and over and over for an hour. That's most likely paid for by GameStop. Like that, GameStop has given that guy credit to play this.
I don't think so.
and-
I don't think so.
I mean, that's literally how these things work typically. And it's like a very popular
Well,
thing for.
I mean,
gambling
regardless,
companies
it's
to do.
it gets the views, but that's the point is that
It's
these are
marketing
like
paid
this
for-
is legal gambling for whatever reason because we haven't figured out a way to regulate that. You can, if you just say you're doing it, if you buy tokens or coins, you can then go.
But the
just
interesting
gamble
thing about
those.
this is that these are real cards that exist somewhere. Like this is not a token or a coin. This is a digital transfer of a physical asset that has a limited supply. Like this isn't some meme coin that somebody's just gonna like print a million pictures of like a dumb ape. This is a Pokemon card that only 500 of which will exist, and there's a long-standing history and market for these kinds of collectibles. Like this is decades old. That's been proven. It's
I
very
guess
interesting. Let's
that
see.
is
I'm
the
gonna pull a 50
difference
here
here
while we're
compared
That
to a
makes it
loot
very
box. Like a loot
interesting.
box, like a Fortnite skin, is ephemeral. Like it could be worthless in 10 years. This, in theory, could be worthless in 10 years. I mean, it might die out, but it's less likely than a video game, I guess.
You're investing in a physical asset.
I don't
at
know about
least.
that one.
It's-
Oh, only $25.
But you're not investing in a physical asset because you don't know what you're
Lucario?
buying. This
you
is
talking
like
about?
if you said I'm going to buy a house.
Well, you
Right,
don't know which card you're
and-
buying.
Yeah, I'm going to go buy a house. I'm going to spend $500,000 on a house, and I'm going to pick it out of a hat and see which set of keys I get.
That's fair. I mean,
It's gambling, but it's also still an asset. I think
Gambling on a
and you
physical
could get this
That's what makes this
Charizard.
interesting.
Like, look at this.
But it will immediately, like this setup like this will immediately end in a race to the bottom where the only people that like no this is a slot machine. The casino is the only one that will make any money on this scenario right
Which
here.
is
Because you're not
GameStop,
going
which
to
is
hold
why
these
I'm
cards.
excited. Which is why I'm excited about this.
For GameStop, it might be good. Like, if we're trying to be just purely capitalistic here, if they get enough people hooked on this, they will probably make money. Like a
For
good amount of money.
society, this is terrible.
This isn't that bad. I agree.
But yeah, they've legalized gambling everywhere. I don't know
Greninja.
what we're debating here.
If you've
It's
gotten
just like the
two
benefit
Super
for
Smash
society,
Brothers Pokemons.
not great.
All right.
I do find it interesting though
So
that
I've
you
got
can actually get a
56
physical
left. And
asset because I've always thought all these are kind of scams because you're just getting digital assets that really don't have any value. Like obviously nothing has real value unless you place value on it, but like I've always thought digital assets are just stupid. Like those will not hold value, whereas I think physical assets do tend to hold value, even if you do think it's stupid and you don't like Pokemon. That's like to other people, there's intrinsic value to it. Whereas that's what makes this interesting to me is like you actually can get the card. Whereas,
Oh, no.
like you said, Austin, like if it's digital, they could just make a bunch of them and you wouldn't know.
We are kind of seeing the race to the bottom here. So Sam slowly bled about $7 so far in the last two card pulls.
Are you
And
putting
I'm
more
under
money in, or are you
$50,
just
so I gotta
working
go
off the
back
same
down to-
money? Sorry. Did you only
Well,
put
I
in
sold a couple of
$25?
cards that were in my vault. I sold that 40. I had $12 in it, and I put 25 in, and now I'm at this. So I was up to.
Okay. I mean, it
Who
is
the hell,
gambling.
Bird
Silly
Keeper,
gambling, that's how I-
$5.
This is a
I-
slot machine. It's literally
Yeah,
a
I've-
slot machine.
like I have online
I need to
gambling.
win here soon.
Gambling's
I need to
legal
win
in
here
like gambling's legal in Tennessee. Like I have a FanDuel account and I put in $100 like 5 years ago, and I have never put in more money because I don't get addicted and I don't gamble a bunch. But like every once in a while, I'll put like a $5 bet on like a huge NFL parlay for the noon games.
What's this? Japanese card. Oh, okay, we got a
And it
winner.
keeps you hooked, right? Like you could just continue to play because you don't lose all your money, and that's kind
I
of what
bet
this
through a
is
bookie,
doing.
Matthew. Keeps
Hmm?
me away from the
You
ass.
use a bookie.
Bet through a bookie.
FanDuel's not going to come by and break my
Back
legs,
above
though.
50. Let's go. Yeah, I think this is a really interesting business
a
model, and
slick
it
site.
keeps
I'll
in
give 'em
line
that.
with GameStop's original model of buying and selling used stuff. They've switched away from physical games because nobody plays those anymore, and now they've got, oh yeah, baby, let's go, winner.
Cash out. This is
So-
when you gotta be better than the system.
Except the buyback.
Except the
Buy
immediately.
another pack.
The
Upgrade to silver.
dopamine's
buy
hitting
it.
so
Yeah,
hard
so I
right
mean, it's
now.
in line with GameStop, but
Literally.
with this, like with discs, with physical games, you buy those and you sell them, and that guy keeps it. With this, like they've been able to, I've sold all of these back. Like they keep this big inventory. They keep this big inventory, and they get to continue to play this gambling game. So their cost of goods is, I think, extremely low for like they just need to build their inventory, and then they can just do this forever. They don't have to continue creating anything. It's just this forever. All right.
I mean, there'll be competitors
I
in the
could,
market that try
I could-
that replicate it because there's nothing inherently intellectual.
But
there's no
they're
IP
the only
inherent
they're
to
the
it, but
exclusive
first
partner
movers.
with. They're the exclusive partner with PSA. No, they're the exclusive partner with PSA, which is the only card grading company.
I see. Well, I guess you could argue that you
Yikes,
just,
that
like
was
I'm
bad one.
sure PSA has all these ratings on their website, so I don't see what prevents me from making a website that just says this is how this is the value on their website. Do you think people would not use it if it was just a list from their website instead of like being an exclusive partner?
If they have an API, you could do that.
I mean, it's your reputation. PSA's been in business. I don't know when PSA came around, but they've been like the only card grading company since we were kids.
What a gig
So
by PSA. Now you talk about a good company, them seeing that and then cornering that market and card grading. Oof.
But
I mean,
like
honestly, it's pretty fun. I put in $25 and I've been going for 15 minutes or something. I don't know.
You
That's
gotta be
what you
careful
say when
you
on
leave the
that
slot
machine.
Slot machine, man.
Yeah. Well, now I'm done playing because I'm under $25. I'm not going to put any more money in. So ultimately a loser. But in terms of GameStop, which is what I'm interested in for earnings tomorrow, I think that this is a huge winner for them. I think it's a story of them changing their business model in a way that people expected GameStop to be failing because they were exclusively dependent on consoles and hard physical game sales. And I think that this is proof that they have a constant revenue stream that's dependable and a huge and growing market, and that they have cornered for the moment. So I think it's an exciting time period for GameStop. I think that they have like $10 billion in cash right now, and they're profitable. They hadn't been profitable for years and years, but a year ago they were profitable, and they've been profitable every quarter since. So the company is actually looking genuinely healthy with what I think is a really interesting business proposition with these Pokemon cards. So all I'm saying is that I think it's worth a look. When you say GameStop, people roll their eyes and they kind of call you a little bit of an idiot, because for a long time it was just a meme. But it's not a meme stock anymore, and I think it really warrants a genuine investor's eye to see what's going on, which it's interesting to me. So
All right, I'll buy some.
Hey Justin, you know how you were
I mean, it's a
saying,
hell of a turnaround story. I'll give you that.
oh yeah, Justin, you know how you were saying that college football coaches are now just getting fired like willy-nilly, and it's just like there's this appetite for success, or really appetite for failure is so minimal that they just like are firing people because it's just like we gotta be successful. This is a pay or play game. I wonder if that's more of a symptom of our society in a bit based on our attention spans and our need for immediacy and everything. Like if you look at the Premier League in soccer, they do the same thing. There's so much money involved that they like some teams will have like three coaches in a season, managers, if you're watching soccer, but like there's so much money involved, they're like, we gotta have success. And this I kind of think relates a little bit to the gambling and the dopamine hits of like we need constant success. I need like constant entertainment. Like I just feel like patience is almost going to be gone from society at some point. Like we just have no patience for anything. We can't let anything develop. We need immediacy on everything and urgency. And I think it leads to why society and people are just such a short fuse now and get so angry so quickly. Everybody just needs to relax. Go take a,
I
go
don't think
take
you're
a,
wrong, man.
I was gonna say they need to go on a
Like
retreat in
Amazon kind of does
Lithuania.
that for shopping. Yeah, seriously, dude. I don't. It's weird. I wonder how society's going to adapt to it, because the gratification is so fast now. I did write something down, which this would be an AI section. I don't know if people want to go into that, but just the immediate gratification and the answers you can get with things nowadays is also going to promote non-deep learning in a way. You're going to have people that are going to solve problems, and they might come up with great solutions, but they're not going to know how to replicate it without the tool, and they're not going to know like the deep understanding of what goes into the solution, right? Because if the tool provides you the solution really quickly and you're able to do something with that solution, whether it's building a website or anything like that. For instance, Austin, do you have any information on the background of the website you built for your child's gender and weight? Do you have any
Hmm.
idea of the back end infrastructure that goes into making that?
No idea. I just told it to do it. That was pretty cool. I told you guys that. We were saying that we wanted to make someone said we need to do like a family pool for when the baby was going to come and was going to weigh and all of that. And they were like, yeah, there's like some apps you can use, and somebody else used one, blah blah. And so I started looking a little bit, and they all looked kind of like, I don't know. I didn't really feel like making an account and setting him up, so I was like, let me just hop into Replit, literally on my phone, sitting around a campfire looking at palm trees in Florida, and I just said, make me an app that that my family can use as a pool to guess the weight and gender and date of the baby. And within 20 minutes, a couple little tweaks here and there, had it published online, sent the link out to them. They're filling it out. No need to use anybody else's app for it.
Weren't you the one that was just saying gambling on Pokemon cards was bad for society?
Well, we're not putting any money on this pool. People do pools for baby due dates all the time. What are you talking about?
I mean, the hypocrisy.
It's not the point. The point is that I was able to build an app in minutes that did exactly what I wanted. Then was sitting there, another use case. My dad was like, "Oh, that's really interesting. You're able to make that really fast." He's like, "You know, it'd be cool if I had an app that I could give to me and like my coworkers and other people in my industry who travel all the time and stay in these hotels in all these different cities across the country constantly. It'd be neat if we had like an internal app to rate hotels that we stay at. So you could say, oh, I'm at this place, I'm here at the Hilton and wherever, and it was good, 5 stars or 4 stars, whatever. Here's a note. And it's by a trusted person that you know. So you have your group of 50 people or whatever it might be that are hitting a bunch of hotels all the time. And if you're going to that city, you could say, let me see where Bobby has stayed in Indianapolis. Oh, the JW Marriott. It's a great hotel, 5 stars. And so I said, oh, okay, I can whip that up. A couple hours later, there it is. He's got that now.
And he's sharing it with friends? Or with his coworkers?
He's going to.
Yeah.
I'm getting it published on a link now. Now, like, again, these things right now, like building them super simply, like no security. Like if anyone found the link, they could go use the site. They could put in a baby prediction for my child. So like there's no, but ultimately these are also really like low stakes type things that are being built. So, but it's just incredible. Like the Replit keeps getting better and better and better. It's now built. It's got its agent that goes and does all of the checking. Like I can tell it, go submit 10 responses to this hotel app and like figure out where it breaks and what the flaws are. It will go run the whole thing, run the testing, say, here is the problem.
Here's a question for you.
It's fixing itself.
Are
in
you
real time.
Becoming a better prompter though? Do you feel like you understand how to prompt it in a way that it breaks less?
I don't think so, honestly.
You think you haven't changed since
I think the output, like the AI is getting so much better.
I feel like I've become a worse prompter because of that. Like I used to spend a lot of time prompting and like really crafting, and I'm just like, figure it out. Like just give me what I want.
Yeah.
It's frustrating as a result, I think.
But specifically like the ability to go like think about and check, like ChatGPT should do this, or Gemini, like it's going to need to figure out a way to actually go say, all right, here's the answer that I just gave you. Let me go now, take a step back, think about that answer I just gave you and think about from a third party, does that now make sense? And then tell you, and then like ask the follow-up question for you. So it's like, you want it to almost like have your agents working together to say, go answer the next question, so that I don't have to, because it's inefficient for me to say like, no, that's not what I was talking about. I actually meant this, or go answer this next question. If it automatically starts thinking on its own like that, that's where things get really interesting.
There are models that do that. They basically, I think I read it goes out to Gemini and then same question to GPT chat, looks at each answer, and then creates its own answer based on their answers. It's kind of like an interesting.
That's the deep seek strategy, probably.
Yeah, maybe the deep seek. But it's an interesting way to look at modeling. I bet it's a shit ton of tokens because you have to do 3 models, so the cost I bet is pretty bad. But
it cost me like I probably spent to build those 2 apps that I just talked about costs $25 in AI power.
Like you had to do a whole month. You went through your whole month quota, and then you had to add $25.
No, like those. No, like I went through my $25 month quota to build those two. Then
Okay.
also with Replit, you are paying hosting fees as well for people that have like used the database, but like there's no data that's hosted right now. So, but if they do blow up, if one of your apps was to blow up and have a bunch of users and like actually a bunch of it became big, you
You could
would
probably
start to
get
pay.
yourself into trouble if you just like spent $25 and hit it big, and then Replit was like, "You owe us $50,000." And you're like, "I don't have any money."
They would shut you down before that.
Sorry, back to this just real quick. I wanted to show you this Charizard card has a market cap of $2.6 million, like more than a lot of companies. Just this one card. And
I'm
here's,
sure I've
like,
got
the
that in the
sales over
binder
time.
somewhere.
So
My
there's only
mom's
100. I know, that's what I thought. I was like, I recognize this card. Yeah, it's worth 14,400.
Can you
And
can you
then
go
the
all
last,
time back on that? Like, when did this value
yeah, you have to
uptick?
pay for Pro.
What?
Yeah, you have to have a membership to the website to get more data. Yeah, but
Oh, that's
there's
too
like
much.
all kinds of cards. This Kabuto, this is the last thing I'll say about it. It's up 1,500% in the last month because there's this guy on Twitter who is collecting all of these Kabuto cards, which was basically a worthless card. But he's on a mission to just buy every single one of them. So he's like artificially decreasing the supply of this card by taking them out of the market. So the cost per card has skyrocketed over the past month because he's just been getting all of them. And he recently auctioned off one of his first edition Kabuto cards, and it went for $51,000 for St. Jude's Hospital. So I'm just trying to give you like a sense of like how big this industry is, that this stupid ass card is like people are just donating $50,000 just for I think Logan Paul was one of the bidders on this card. So it's actually gaining like some pretty big notoriety, and there's a lot of big money involved with it. Yeah, kind of interesting stuff. That was all I wanted to bring up. Look at this.
That's some market manipulation right there, but legal market manipulation, I guess, if you're just buying up the supply.
Oh boy. All right. Any other topics that we want to get to?
That was
Hey,
interesting. We haven't
no.
covered gambling much.
Pretty good session.
We covered football and gambling. We've been live this entire time.
Hell yeah. We're branching out.
Grace Hammer 3503 says this is scary to watch while we were doing the Pokemon.
Or
cards.
one comment. No, actually,
Also, that was a symposium expense, so you guys owe me $25.
Oh, great.
Put it on the book.
Well,
you've had
according to you,
20
we're going to
days,
have
right?
thousands of viewers. We're supposed to have. Yeah, shouldn't everybody be watching because you were pulling those cards?
Yeah,
I thought that was going to drive the
Pokemon Power Packs, and I
Be
bet
live
we'll
on
get more
Twitch,
views than
not
We
usual.
can just write it off as a business expense.
No, it was on YouTube
That's
that
what
I was
they do,
watching
right?
those with.
That's how you don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
It's a write-off.
That's right.
They just write it off, Jerry.
All right. Well, this is another great episode. Episode 15 in the books. We'll have to see if we get another one in this year. Should we do a year in review episode at some point?
We
That'd
could.
be kind of fun.
Reminisce on our top stories, top predictions throughout the year.
Are you guys?
We did make some stock predictions that I could bring up in our next one.
Well, I have a
We could
prediction for. I do want to get out in this episode for future. So you know how they add new terms to the dictionary every year? I'm pretty confident that Merriam-Webster, that's the people that do the dictionary thing, that vibe coding is going to be added, if not this year, by next year in the Merriam-Webster. So if you guys see that, remember I called this early.
Okay.
All right, people using that term all the time now. It's annoying as hell. Makes sense. I understand
That's what
why
I
people
just was
using it.
doing.
But that's going to be in the dictionary by the end of next year. Calling it.
Well, it's too. Can you put is there a prediction market wager that you could put on this on Polymarket?
Can I start one of those?
Calcium?
Like, do I get the fee if I just start a prediction?
I mean, I don't think so. That's a very random prediction, but we will mark it down for the records.
Who's your college football playoff champ?
All right. Well, I'm going to
Everybody
end
get
this
our
live
prediction.
thing. Oh, there we go. That's a good idea. College football champ. Indiana Hoosiers.
Hoosiers.
Indiana, probably. They just beat the number one team.
I'm going to pick Ohio State. It's hard to beat a team twice. If they play each other again, it'd be tough. We'll see.
According to FanDuel, currently we have Ohio State at plus 220, Indiana at plus 290, Georgia at plus 550, Oregon at plus 800. So, looks like the smart money is with Matthew.
Not by much, though. I think IU has a good path, too. They get to play
No, it's
Alabama
pretty
or
close.
Oklahoma, and I don't think either of those teams are that good.
Amen
But
to
we'll
that.
see.
All right. Well, I'm going to end this live show. Thank you for watching our one viewer of the night. And make sure you like, subscribe, share the show. We will see you before year end and get episode 16 in before 2026. But we're carrying some good momentum. Sam's in his new studio, and we will catch you all next time.
We've been talking since the 5th grade, and somehow we've got more to say. Beat kicks in faster rhythm. Inflation's high, the game's too steep. Stream wars rage while we lose sleep. Big tech's wild, the Fed's a mess, but let's start a party, I guess. Symposium, where tangents thrive. Old friends talking, the takes collide. Symposium, no wrong or right, just good conversation deep into the night. Yeah, we're still talking.